Is there someone, deep divers, that you are thinking about day and night? You can't get them out of your mind and they aren't serving you? That makes it even worse. You're like, Ralph, I wish I could just stop thinking of this person already, but I can't. I'm here to tell you, deep divers, stop letting people who do so little for you take up such a large space in your mind. Stop letting people who do so little for you, deep divers, have rent-free accommodation in your mind. Many times we meet people who we don't like, who are toxic, who are negative, who aren't serving us. But guess what, deep divers? We are thinking of them every single second. And guess what? You didn't think about your best friend, did you? No, you didn't think about them today. You thought about this one person who you don't like, who is not serving you. Walk away from anyone, deep divers, no longer serving you. Anytime you are thinking about somebody who does nothing for you, it's all on you now, deep divers. It's all on you taking responsibility, which means responding to your ability to realize that, oh, I get it. Whatever you focus on grows. And you are turning into whoever you are tuning into. Energy goes where attention flows. Energy flows where attention goes. If you realize this today, deep divers, people who are in our minds that we don't want there are like squatters who have come there and we have to evict them today. For our own peace of mind, they don't belong there. They call it paying attention for a reason. Anybody you pay attention to, you are giving them your energy. That's why they call money currency. It's all energy. You're giving them money. It's an energetic transaction. So realize that if you pay anybody attention, you're actually giving them a part of you. So, who do you want to pay attention to today? Somebody who does nothing for you? Or somebody who's always been there? Deep divers, open your address book, for goodness sakes. You got friends there who love you, who adore you, who would love if you spared them a thought. So why are you spending all of your time worrying about one person who does nothing for you? Whatever you focus on grows, deep divers. And you give your energy to whoever you focus on. So, let go of anybody no longer serving you. And once you do, well, you'll just say, feels so good to be alive, baby. Can I get a hello there? Deep divers, we are out here in the secret garden. We're just, breathing in that good ass prana, baby. I'm sending you tons of beautiful energy. Deep divers, stop letting people who do so little for you take up such a large space in your mind. You are better than that. Oh yes, you are. Even the cat down the road agrees. Have a beautiful day. Peace.
Harmony. The complete balance of the senses. Sight. Sound. Smell. Touch. And taste. Create your state of harmony in no time at all with Baron Foods Gourmet Collection. Baron, we make food tasty.
So we need to get the facts straight. How does this virus work? How does it transmit? Where does it want to go? And let's protect ourselves. I'm Dr. Peter Lin. I'm a family physician in Toronto, Canada. The coronavirus is a family of viruses that can cause as mild things as just a common cold, all the way up to SARS or MERS. These are these bad pneumonias that we're talking about. And basically what these viruses are, they look like a tennis ball with all these spikes sticking out of it. And depending on the type of spike, it allows that virus to attach to certain places. So some viruses, they have the spike that attaches to your nose. So basically you just get a common cold. But the SARS virus and this new virus that we're talking about has the spike that allows it to attach to the cells in your lung. And when it attaches there, it puts in information to make photocopies of itself. So it uses our equipment to make more viruses.
I'm declaring a public health emergency of international concern over the global outbreak of novel coronavirus.
Most of the coronaviruses live in animals. In this particular case, it was from Wuhan. There was a fish market where they were selling live animals. And the thought is that the virus was in a live animal, then it crossed into a human. But then what we found was that people were getting sick in terms of healthcare workers, in terms of family members that were looking after them, which now meant that the virus can pass from human to another human. Just like all viruses, it needs to reach a target, which is your lung, and it has to get there with your help. It has no feet and no wings, so therefore it needs us to move it there. So that's why we keep saying, don't hang around sneezy people because you're gonna breathe it in, and don't touch your face because that's how the virus is gonna get in. The masks are helpful, but they're not necessary because they're leaky. The ones that you and I buy basically have pockets here, so therefore the virus can get in. What the masks really do is they stop us from touching our face. If you're sick, we tend to mask you, so therefore you're not spewing out the viruses to other people sitting around you. The true people that have the real masks are the N95. Those are sealed. These are for the doctors that may be caring for the patients. So in the beginning, the coronavirus will cause kind of like flu-like symptoms or a cold. So people just get the stuffy nose, that kind of thing. But you'll understand that as soon as that virus starts manufacturing in your lung cells, they're producing all these copies of the virus, all of a sudden now you kill the lung cells. So now you can't exchange oxygen. And that's why one of the early symptoms is people get very short of breath and they tend to have a difficult time breathing, and that's why they end up in hospital. So currently, unfortunately, we don't have a direct treatment for the coronavirus. So we don't have a medication that can kill it off. And so it's really supportive. So in other words, the patient can't breathe, we give them oxygen, help them to breathe. They can't drink, so therefore we give them fluids to support them. Their kidneys begin to shut down, we help them with all those things. So it's a very supportive process. This is a new virus that we've never seen before. So our immune system, our army, are having a hard time figuring out what to do. So usually what we have to do is we make something called antibodies. So these are things that can grab onto the spikes that we see on the virus, and it'll get rid of the virus for you, and that will actually bring you back to good health. So therefore the elderly may have a worse outcome, and of course the young children. So the babies, their immune system is not so good either, so they may not make those antibodies as well. So So just remember, your hands may be with virus. Virus cannot hurt you because it can't get through the skin. But the moment I do this, now I've brought the virus right to where it wants to go. So let's remember not to touch our hands to our face. So let's say you think that you might have been on a plane or you might have bumped into somebody that has it. What should you do? So the first thing is to contact a healthcare worker to tell them that potentially you have it. If you're feeling symptoms and you're going to go into a facility, call ahead. Okay, so whether you're calling the paramedics or whether you're calling the hospital or your doctor, just mention that you were on a flight. If you don't have any symptoms, then what we do is a little bit of a self-quarantine. In other words, we can just keep you away from other people, and so you don't go into parties, don't go with your friends, don't go into public transportation. So we can contain it very easily by making sure that you do a self-confinement, so to speak, for the, let's say, 7 to 14 days is the longest incubation time. So after that, if you're feeling well, then you don't have anything to worry about. If we get the facts right, then we don't have to be overly worried, but we do the right things so that we don't get the virus ourselves and that we don't pass it on to others. And if we look after each other in this way, this virus will have nowhere to go. It needs us to move it, it needs us to make copies for it, and if we don't help it, then the virus will stop. So we have the power to do that right now.
You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day.
people do not realize how serious high blood pressure is simply because most people that have high blood pressure do not have symptoms. It's called a silent killer because it can affect your brain, your heart, your kidneys without you even being aware of it. We know from studies that people that have high blood pressure are 4 times more likely to die from a stroke or to have a stroke, and 3 times more likely to have coronary artery disease as well. So when you get to your doctor's office, they take your blood pressure, and there are 2 numbers that they usually tell you. The top number is called the systolic blood pressure, which is the blood pressure when your heart is beating. The other number, which is the bottom number, is called the diastolic blood pressure, and that's the blood pressure when your heart is at rest in between the beats of the heart. And those numbers are very important. So obviously when you have a high blood pressure, it impacts not only your blood vessels, but your organs, in particular the brain and the heart, and it puts a strain on them. So people that have a prolonged elevation of blood pressure for years without controlling it, their hearts can get bigger. And as it gets bigger, it can fail, what we call heart failure. And so that can have an impact. And obviously on the brain also, very high blood pressure has a risk of leading to stroke, and that can lead to a lot of hassles and sickness and hospital visits. It's very normal for your blood pressure to fluctuate during the day. Your blood pressure fluctuates in response to anxiety, to stress, but as long as it doesn't stay high, it should come back down to normal. That's the most important thing. If it stays high persistently, then we begin to have problems. There are certain risk factors for developing high blood pressure. If you are overweight or obese, if you smoke cigarettes, those are risk factors. And if you have a family history, one or both parents, is also a risk factor. But there is hope. There is a way out, I've had patients who have made lifestyle changes and who have lost a ton of weight and whose blood pressure came back to normal. And these are the things we emphasize in primary care, that losing weight and eating healthy and making healthy choices day to day can, reduce your risk.